Lisa. Today is Thursday's Yoga Challenge, and today we will be working on stretching our legs. Very deep stretching for the legs. So with that deep stretching, just like we did on day 2, we will be holding things for about 2 minutes, which can get challenging. So I recommend having a chair or stool close by so that you can support yourself a little higher and reduce some of that stretch if needed. We'll start with about a level 6, 7 intensity out of 10. Unless you have a tendency to aggravate your low back, then I recommend going down to about a 4, maybe a 5. Also, if you don't have 2 hours after this routine before you do any other strenuous activity, I recommend waiting on this routine until after. Like to have about 2 hours for the muscle tissue to recover from that deep stretching so we don't have any injuries or strains. Letting it get its strength back up. All right, let's get started. We'll start with our breathing technique just to practice again. Remind you that breathe to relax breath, which we'll be using a lot today. So however that feels good, lying down, sitting up, staying in a chair, whatever works for you. You're going to inhale through the nose for 4. And sigh out the mouth for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. One more time. Great. We're going to do something called arm energizers or energizer arms. Inhaling the arms out and up, leaving the shoulders down, away from the ears. Exhale as we press the palms away from us. Again, shoulders are relaxed down. Inhale as we turn the palms up, reach the thumbs back, stretching through that chest and shoulders, maybe lifting the chin. And exhale, back to center. One more time, just opening up those shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, push. Turn the palms over. Inhale, reach back. Lift the chin. And exhale, back to center. Get the shoulders a little movement. And we're going to come up to standing for those moon squats. Again, keeping your heels lifted if needed for that stability. You can put them on blocks, on pillows, on a rolled up yoga mat. Or if that feels fine, you can leave your feet right on the floor. Equal pressure across the balls of the feet underneath the big toe and little toe and through the heel. Really make sure those heels are stable. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge back at the hips. Knees stay on top of the ankles. Inhale, back up. Turning to the side. Hinging back with the hips. Knees stay planted on top of those ankles. Inhale up and out with the arms, maybe reaching back. Exhale, crossing the arms with some fists. Give those fists a squeeze, really get that fluid moving. Inhale, and exhale down. And we can stay here, releasing the arms and the head. If you feel comfortable, we can go all the way down. Make sure those heels stay put. If you have a chair, sometimes that's comfortable to rest here or to rest here. Just rest for a few breaths here, really deep into that belly. Inhaling down, exhaling. One more. Inhale down toward the belly. Maybe feeling an expansion across the back. And exhale. Inhale back up. Nice. We're going to move this into a ragdoll pose, a little deeper than the stretch we just did. We may feel it across the low back. If it's generalized across this whole area or through the glutes, that's okay. If you feel a pinpoint pain, that means that it's a signal from your body to reduce that stretch. So come up a little higher, bend the knees a little more until you feel a release of that. So if we're using a chair, we're going to step the feet back just a little bit, hip distance apart, train tracks, toes pointing forward, parallel to each other. We can hold the chair from here and just drop the head, bend the knees, starting to feel a stretch across the back side of the body, maybe from the bottom of the feet all the way up into the back or even through the shoulders and neck as the head hangs. If this is not yet a 6 or 7 intensity for you, maybe come down to the elbows and let the chest start to sit on the thighs. Again, letting the head hang. If you need to go a little deeper, we can relax the arms down or even hold the elbows and just hang here. Again, nothing higher than a level 7 out of 10 intensity because we're going to be holding this. It gets a little more intense as gravity starts to pull us down toward the floor. See if we can become that wet noodle. Really relax whatever we can relax and come back to that breathe to relax breath. Our body has something called a myostatic stretch reflex. It's a fancy way of saying if we go too far or too fast, it signals that there's a threat to hurting or injuring part of our body. So it seizes up a little bit. It starts to bind or brace and doesn't let the body relax. So 2 ways we overcome this in stretching and yoga is through the breath, that breathe to relax breath, to signal that we're safe, to let the body's defenses down so that the muscles can release and lengthen. The other is to ease into a stretch. So you'll notice that we kind of started off a little bit slow, took it a little bit at a time. That signals to the body's nerve endings that we're not going too far too fast. So anytime you want to get a deep stretch, we'll go slowly and ease yourself into it, and then start to use that breath. One more breath here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll release the arms, maybe walk them up the thighs. If you're at the chair, start to bend the knees. And walk the hands up and roll or lift yourself up. I'm going to use those glutes to really push down into the floor and reach the arms up high. Shoulders stay low. We never want the shoulders to squeeze up by the ears in these poses. And then release. I'm going to come down to the hands and knees on the floor if we can. If not, we can just use the chair again. We're going to move into a little stretch for the back, inhaling as we lift through the tailbone and the head, opening the chest and shoulders forward. Exhaling as we tuck the hips and pelvis and let the chin tuck towards the chest. This is called cat and cow, inhaling as we arch through the spine, exhaling as we round through the spine. Again, we can do this from the chair here, or even from here if that's too much. Same movement, different plane of motion. One more, inhaling and exhaling. All right, our next pose is blaster pose. first I'm going to show you on the floor. This is where we use a cushion or a pillow underneath our knee. We're going to come, if we're hands and knees here, we're just going to move the right foot forward of the pillow. Maybe the pillow can go underneath that knee, but this is where we are. If we're already feeling a 6 or 7 out of 10 stretch for this back side of the leg in the front, and this hip flexor area in the front from the back leg. Otherwise, we're going to move that foot forward, forward until you feel that 7 out of 10 intensity. You'll start to feel, as we get low, that this thigh is going to start resting on the pillow. So that's fine if the knee feels good here. Otherwise, we can just lift that back leg and put that pillow back under. So we'll stay here. If you have your chair handy, you can just hold and support here. We'll be here again for 2 minutes, so this is kind of a long time for this deep stretch. If that is too much for you, you can use more pillows to support the pelvis underneath, or you can come up to the chair. One foot comes onto the chair. We lean our hands forward to support at the back. Again, the knee never goes in front of the toes. If we need to, we can move the foot forward into the stretch, but we need to start feeling a nice stretch to the back side of the hamstrings here, and through the back leg, the front of the thigh, up by the hip. I'm going to be here for a little over a minute. We're almost halfway there on the side. Again, easing down into it. As we stretch, sometimes gravity starts to open it up for us, pulling us closer to the floor. We can move that foot even further forward, or slide that back knee further away from the torso. We want to make sure that we stay in that aligned form. We don't want to lean to the side or let one of the hips shift. It changes the stretch. Mostly it eases us out. And again, front foot has weight underneath the ball of the big toe and the little toe and the center of the heel. Sometimes we have a tendency to push the weight forward into the ball of the foot. We want that sturdy, steady point on the heel as well. Last breath. And then we'll start to slowly ease out and switch sides. If you're on the floor, we come back to that hands and knees pose, and we move the left foot forward. Maybe that right knee goes onto the pillow if we know that we're going to need that. That left foot walks forward until we can start to feel that we have enough space to relax the torso down in between the legs, feeling a nice stretch through that extension on the back leg and the hip flexor, and the flexion in the front leg on the hamstrings, the back of the leg. Staying here. Again, if we were on the chair standing, just bring that foot up, lean the hips gently forward, a knee stays over the ankle. Maybe we have to hold on, maybe we don't. Depends on where you need to find that stretch. The back leg, front of the hip flexor, the back leg underneath, that hamstring area. Depending on which style of yoga you're used to, you may hear this referred to as blaster pose. Maybe you hear this as a low lunge. Some styles call it dragon pose or lizard pose if our hands are down even further. We're super flexible. We can bring the hands all the way to the floor as long as the chest stays lifted. We want to round the back to get here. Keep the stretch in the hips and legs. Again, only go as far as you can for holding for 2 minutes. We're almost done. Inhale for 4. Exhale. Really good. I'm going to take that hip area, move it back. Hands can come to the floor, foot comes behind us. Use that cat-cow pose one more time. Maybe for you, if you're on the chair, we're standing and rounding from here, or even from here, we need to be a little higher, or maybe sitting, the same stretch. Inhale, opening through the chest, arching, and exhale, rounding. One more. Great. We're going to take a twist from here. So if we're seated, we just take the torso around, hand to the outer knee, back hand either to the chair back or to the seat, and just twist. If we're already on the floor, we can sit back on our legs or sit all the way down on our glutes and just take a twist again. Hand to the outside knee, reaching behind us to the floor. Doesn't have to be a deep stretch. Just using this stretch like a sponge to wring out the fluids of the spine and get things moving again. Inhaling back to center. Give the shoulders a little movement and move to the other side. Again, trying not to drop a shoulder into the twist or lean into the twist. It's just around the spine, just like a sponge, like we bring out a sponge. Inhaling and exhaling fully. Great job. We'll do a balancing breath here. Come back to where you inhaling and exhaling for 4 so that we're not sleepy or tired after our relaxation. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. Great. Thank you for deep stretching with me today. Let me know how it goes.